This guy asks, am I picking the wrong places for dates? Well, you want the date to communicate that it is a date, not something like a coffee or walk in the daytime kind of deal. And to do that, well, sometimes it's like, well, if there's that opportunity or that possibility for like sex to happen, then it's not necessarily about getting that outcome of sex, but it's about really creating that kind of exciting dynamic. Because if there's basically no chance of having sex, sometimes there's not that kind of a what's going to happen kind of excitement factor. And so it really is important to set dates in the evening. And also you'll find that it's just much easier to set up something like a kiss or to even like hold her hand, because it's like nighttime just kind of gives off that vibe. And so when you're setting a date, ideally what you also want to do is create a whole experience, because it's like, understand that women are oftentimes more turned on from an entire experience and all the effort that went along with that, and her basically building that connection and then kissing and then going further if that's your outcome. But the important part is building that whole experience compared to a guy who might be, let's say he was going for sex or whatever. So he's like outcome driven. He's like, okay, now I'm turned on just because you're attractive and let's go have sex. He can basically be turned on that quickly compared to her, where it just takes time. And so you have to understand that, and then also plan a date that maybe goes to multiple locations. That way it kind of gives her that whole experience. Again, that leads up to a moment where the two of you kind of release that tension or, have sex. And so let's get into the post and see what he's doing. Date one, meet up for coffee. Yeah, I mean, it's daytime. It's going to be tougher to like kiss her even. So, and also what you're probably getting into is like when you do these coffee dates, she's like, oh, well, is this actually like a date, or is this just kind of like him getting to know me, or what's going on? And this, like, it's not totally clear. And when that's the case, sometimes it's like when you give off that friend zone vibe, it's more difficult to go from that vibe and that association towards you to intimate kind of more relationship where the two of you are kissing or making moves or whatever, compared to just going from basically nothing and no reference, but no basically like friend zone reference point, straight to like kissing. And so it's like, it's important to kiss on the first date. And so that's why I teach to always go for that goodnight kiss, unless you are just totally uninterested in this woman and don't want to kind of proceed further. So it's like, if you detect she has a high level of interest, go for that kiss. Ideally, it's like you read it in the moment and you kiss her right then, but always go for at least that goodnight kiss. And then if you're a little bit unsure, it's like she's been giving you some really good signals, but you're not like totally confident. Maybe you haven't done the work to kind of know exactly what she's doing in order to kind of communicate that she's interested in you. If you're kind of getting that vibe and you're someone interested in her and like to see it further, it's like, go for that kiss. And if she rejects you, it's like, oh yeah, great. And that gives you the message that her interest isn't high enough to be with you. And so it's like, well, you back off and you don't apologize or whatever for being attracted to her. You just don't reach out again. You find somebody else who has a high level of interest in you. And if you do that, it'll eliminate so much drama, just trying to basically drag something out or trying to raise a woman's attraction, which I do cover in my products there that you can get, but it's just like, it's much easier if you start from a woman that's into you. So coffee date seemed okay. So meaning nothing happened. They just talked. I mean, but it was more me talking than him talking. Oh, it's a woman. Okay. And he was nervous, but totally okay. That happens. I used to be that person. Well, actually, I mean, what you'll also notice, like, she might be saying this, but if just like when the context is switched, when he does more of the talking and she does just a little tiny bit of talking, she oftentimes isn't as comfortable in the situation. So often it's important for the guy or the person that's in their masculine to be the one that's asking questions. And so to kind of eliminate that factor of her perceiving him not talking as being nervous, well, what he needs to do is, one, just be genuinely interested in her. And Sometimes predetermined questions can help just because it's like, well, you know what to say. And you can just ask her questions that she has positive associations towards you. But ideally, it's like you want to have that fun factor when you're just asking each other questions. So it's like meaning you're getting her to talk about things she likes to talk about or that she likes to do. And when you can get her talking about that and you're interested in her, you become interesting. And then you don't have any kind of thing where she's thinking, oh, you're nervous because you're not talking much or whatever. It's like she's just genuinely having a fun time with you. Yeah. He messaged me as soon as he left. You got to give her space, bro. Oh. Said, enjoy the coffee on Tinder. And I said, thanks. I did too. The next day, he unmatched me. No. Okay. No reason. Just unmatched me. Did I have bad hair? All right. So I don't really have enough context to know why he did that. It's like maybe he was totally, seemingly, he really insecure about his own actions, or that he was super nervous on the date and he felt like he was a failure. And so he thinks like, therefore, I'm done because like I made too many mistakes or I said the wrong things. He's just kind of overthinking the whole process. And so maybe that's why he's really distancing himself. But it kind of sucks because he's probably overthinking this whole thing and kind of having a bunch of anxiety. Um, and if you can learn how attraction works and know like what to do and have some kind of outline, then it'll really eliminate this kind of anxiety, overthinking, overthinking that because it's like you have that confidence in your own skills. Um, Second date, so he unmatched, but now you're going on another date. Okay, it is kind of a weird context here. Second date today, met up for drinks. We chatted things I thought were flowing, but it's like, why did you unmatch her? But I knew it was trouble when he pulled the fast one. The fake emergency, yep, I know that line. My question is this, which leads me to my question: am I choosing the wrong locations? Okay, I don't know what you're meaning by him saying the fast one line, pulling a fast one line. I don't know if he's trying to set up sex or he just kind of jumped over like the kissing phase and just kind of went straight for sex or trying to make sex jokes or whatever. But also, what's going on here is that you are the one who's planning these dates as a feminine woman. And oftentimes that can be conveyed as you taking the lead. And so it's like if he feels like he's in this passive role and doesn't feel like he's the one kind of in a masculine role, sometimes that can make him act just kind of weird, and sometimes just kind of unnatural. And so it's like from a guy's perspective, most of my audience is guys. It's like, well, you definitely want to be the one who takes the lead, especially on those first dates because you kind of set that vibe, set that role. Um, obviously, if she's like really good at something, say she's like a mountain guide or whatever, and so she knows a hike location like really well. It's like sometimes you let her, take the lead in situations like that where it's like she has the highest likelihood, and the two of you have the highest likelihood of having success or having a fun time if she's the one who takes the lead in that context. So it's important to recognize that you don't just want to be totally rigid. It's like, oh, I'm in charge, I'm the boss kind of thing, and I make all the things. It's like, no, you don't want to give that vibe off. It's like you want to, for the most part, take the lead, um, especially in like setting up dates. Um, but just recognize when it's appropriate for her to take the lead. But if you're in the pattern of just being in that passive role as a guy, oftentimes that's going to make her a little uncertain about your strength. And in turn, it's like if you kind of go to the chain of how that makes her feel, it's like ultimately when she feels like can't trust you being strong and you're masculine, she doesn't always feel like totally safe with you. Safe as far as not like, safe as far as like not trusting, safe as far as she doesn't know if you're going to lead to success kind of deal. if that kind of makes sense. But well, I'll continue on. Am I choosing the wrong place? I think coffee is a nice place to meet up and drinks because it is casual. It's like ultimately you're the one taking the lead in these things, and oftentimes women are attracted to guys who are direct, decisive, and if the guy isn't in like the leadership role, it's like, well, how is he really going to be direct and decisive? Because it's like you're the one who's supposed to be that in this context because you're the one who made the plans. So just be aware of that dynamic because it does matter. Huge part of attraction is the polarities, feminine and masculine polarities, and if those are present, like then attraction works. So man, I'll leave it there, and then you can get the products I've got there in the description below, and I'll see you on the next video.